everybody, Courtney Morris, Natural Wellness Physiotherapy. So it's leg day, and the very first thing that you're going to do is you're going to do back squat or front squat. The first thing that you should not be doing is heading to the bar, right? The first thing you should be doing is warming up those tissues, getting them prepped for the load that you're about to put them through. The most common and underutilized tissue, I think, that we think about when we're doing squat is our calves and our ankles. Our ankle mobility plays a huge factor in our depth and in our tissue loading. So that's where I would spend your first couple minutes here. My favorite one, and I've prescribed a lot of ankle stretches and different types of ankle mobility. This thing is by far the best one that I've ever found. And so all you have to do is completely passive. Pull this thing back, get your knee out past your toe, drop this 53-pound weight on it, whatever you've got, a dumbbell, a kettlebell, and just scan around side to side, front to back. When you get into higher level lifting, you should absolutely have the ability to have your knees out past your toes, right? And that comes from good ankle mobility. If you watch, any kind of Olympic lifters, they're way the hell out there, but they own that position because they spend the time working on ankle mobility. If you've heard people that say, oh, your shins need to be vertical when you're doing squats, that's only if you have terrible ankle dorsiflexion, right? So spend 2 or 3 minutes per side. You're gonna feel a nice stretch in through here. Catch it in on both sides. Scan around side to side. The next thing that you're gonna do, you're gonna do a little bit of hip mobility, predominantly looking at hip external rotation. Again, as we come down, we want our hip, we don't have to be out here terribly wide, but we want to have some nice hip external rotation positioning to help keep our trunk upright and high. I always feel like I like the banded hip one. Slide this in through here, put it right up here on your hip seam. It's going to pull you out this way. You're going to kind of let it pull out. Get a little bit of tension in here, working side to side, dropping this thing in and out, prepping those tissues, applying different amounts of load, and stretching out that hip capsule. The last thing, and a really important thing to do, is hip activation, right? Get those muscles ready, get some blood pumping to those tissues before you start working them out. I grab the heavy band here. I like to put this right around the tops of my feet. I'm going to work on hip abductors and then some external rotators. So I'm going to take some pretty big steps through here, slow, controlled movements, working 10, 15 steps each direction. And then on the way, then after those two, I'll do it in this kind of squatted down position, right? This is the bottom of my squat. I need to be good in these hip external rotation positions, and I'm working my way right in through here. So those are the posterior hip ones. The one that I like to help prevents me getting a little bit of lower back pain is I like to do a little bit of hip flexion. This is one I'm kind of working on lately. I dig my toe into here, and I flex this thing up, and I try to get up past 90 degrees, working on this hip flexion. This is 18 pounds. It's a ton, right? Right in through there, nice and slow. We're working on recruiting some of these muscles that are going to stabilize my spine as I'm going up and down with those heavy loads. So spend 5 or 10 minutes prepping yourself for a squat, then jump on the bar. So if you have any comments or questions, we'll link to other videos that we have that are similar to this, but let us know. Courtney Morris, Natural Wellness Physiotherapy.